On the third pole of the Earth, upon the Qinghai Tibet Plateau known as the Roof of the World, an untamable dragon is awakening from its glacial cradle. It is called the Yarlung Tsangpo, a Tibetan name meaning the water flowing from the highest peak. This is no ordinary river, but a true heavenly river. Originating at an altitude of over 5,000 meters, it carries the meltwater of snow-capped mountains and ancient secrets, cleaving through the Himalayas with thunderous force as it rushes towards the vast plains of the South Asian subcontinent. Today, this heavenly river, which has flowed for eons, finds itself at the heart of an unprecedentedly grand narrative. China, a nation renowned as an infrastructure maniac, has placed its most ambitious chess piece yet. A super hydropower project with an investment of up to 1.2 trillion RMB, approximately 170 billion USD, and a planned installed capacity of nearly 70 million kilowatts. What does this signify? It means that in the most treacherous and fragile ecological environment on Earth, an energy heart with a power generation capacity equivalent to Three Gorges dams is set to be born. It promises to supply a continuous stream of clean electricity to a region with a population of over 300 million, but it also casts a deep, unfathomable strategic shadow between two of Asia's nuclear-armed giants, China and India. Is this project a green energy hymn dedicated to the future, or a Pandora's box that could detonate geopolitical conflict? Is it a pure feat of engineering, or a meticulously calculated gamble of the century? To unravel this complex game, we must venture deep into the snow-capped mountains and listen to the intricate echoes of great power rivalry, the thirst for energy, and national ambition that roar behind the heavenly river. The true magic of the Yarlung Tsangpo lies in the breathtaking geographical spectacle it performs as it flows through southeastern Tibet, creating a massive horseshoe-shaped Great Bend around the peak of Namcha Barwa. Here, the river channel meanders for hundreds of kilometers, yet the straight-line distance is merely a few dozen kilometers. Within this short distance, the altitude plummets from nearly 3,000 meters to just a few hundred, creating a staggering drop of over 2,000 meters. This is equivalent to the height of 4 of the world's tallest buildings, Dubai's Burj Khalifa, stacked end to end. Such a concentrated vertical drop is unparalleled globally, resembling a natural hydraulic engine pre-designed by God, holding the surging power to illuminate half a continent. Every year, a colossal runoff of about 140 billion cubic meters, equivalent to the volume of 3 yellow rivers, gushes through this section. For a long time, this force merely roared in vain within the canyon, regarded as an untouchable force of nature. But now, the plan proposed by Chinese engineers is audacious to the point of near madness. They intend to cut the bend straight by tunneling, and directly excavate several massive tunnels through the neck of this horseshoe bend, allowing the river to take a shortcut through the mountains. This means that the water, which originally took a detour of hundreds of kilometers, will be channeled through tunnels of just a few dozen kilometers, harnessing that 2,000-meter natural drop to convert it into incomparable electrical energy. This is not simply building a dam to store water. It is a spatial folding surgery on the Earth's surface. It avoids the massive surface construction that would damage the fragile ecosystem. But it also means that engineers must complete an unprecedented underground engineering feat on one of the most geologically active and complex tectonic plate suture lines on the planet. Faced with such immense technical challenges, astronomical investments, and continuous diplomatic pressure from its neighbor, why is China so determined to push forward with this project? The answer is far more complex than just power generation. Behind it lies Beijing's well-considered, multi-layered national strategy. 1. The national commitment to green energy. In the context of global climate change, China has made a solemn pledge to the world to achieve peak carbon emissions by 2030 and carbon neutrality by 2060. This hydropower station is projected to generate up to 300 billion kilowatt-hours of electricity annually, all of it zero-emission clean energy. This is equivalent to replacing the burning of nearly 100 million tons of standard coal each year and reducing carbon dioxide emissions by about 300 million tons, a figure that exceeds the entire annual emissions of Australia. For an economy still striving to break its dependence on coal, this project is the ace on its energy revolution chessboard, an indispensable part of achieving its dual carbon goals. 2. The economic engine for frontier development. Tibet has long been considered the periphery of China's economic map. This super hydropower station is set to completely change that dynamic. Not only will it create nearly 100,000 jobs during its construction phase, but more importantly, once completed, its industrial electricity price, as low as 0.1 RMB per kilowatt-hour, will be a fatal attraction for high-energy consumption and high-tech industries, such as big data centers and new material smelting. It is estimated that the project will generate over 20 billion RMB in annual fiscal revenue for Tibet, effectively creating a second financial engine for the region. This is not just an economic transfusion, but a catalyst for industrial hematopoiesis, aimed at transforming this highland frontier into a self-sufficient and vibrant economic growth pole. 3. The strategic anchor in geopolitical rivalry. This is perhaps the most sensitive and self-evident aspect. The lower reaches of the Yarlung Tsangpo are adjacent to the disputed Sino-Indian border. In the past, due to the treacherous terrain, China's physical presence and infrastructure in this region were relatively weak. The advancement of this epic project means that tens of thousands of engineering and technical personnel, along with vast quantities of materials and equipment, will be stationed here year-round. This will be accompanied by the development of a series of supporting infrastructures, including roads, bridges, communication networks, and airports. This will fundamentally enhance China's actual control and governance over this strategic area, akin to driving an unshakable strategic anchor into the borderline. As China's ambitions echo across the roof of the world, India, on the South Asian subcontinent, feels a tangible chill. After flowing into India, the Yarlung Tsangpo becomes the Brahmaputra River, which is not only a sacred river in Hinduism, but also the lifeline for tens of millions of people in its northeastern region. India's anxiety is real and profound, and it can be summarized into a threefold fear. Fear over water resources. India worries that once China builds the dam upstream, it will hold the valve controlling the water flow. During the dry season, China could withhold water, causing drought downstream and threatening the irrigation of millions of acres of farmland. During the rainy season, it could release floodwaters, exacerbating the already frequent floods downstream. This concern over the weaponization of water resources is a constant sword of Damocles hanging over India's head. 2. Fear over sovereignty. India believes that such large-scale construction by China near the disputed territory is a unilateral action to change the status quo and solidify its sovereignty claims. In India's view, every completed power station and every new road is an erosion of its territorial claims. 3. Fear over ecology. Although China emphasizes its use of tunneling methods, which have a smaller environmental footprint, India and some Western environmental organizations still worry that a project of this scale will irreversibly damage the fragile ecological balance of the Himalayan region and affect biodiversity. However, from a hydrological science perspective, some of India's concerns may be overstated. The Yarlung Tsangpo contributes approximately 30% of the total flow of the Brahmaputra River. The remaining 70% comes from monsoon rains within Indian territory. China's diversion-style hydropower station is not designed to cut the river in half, but to preserve most of the natural runoff. In theory, its reservoir storage capacity during the rainy season could even help mitigate flood pressure downstream. But in the face of nationalist sentiment and geopolitical suspicion, such scientific explanations often appear pale and unconvincing. In this high-stakes game, there are no simple rights or wrongs. China's right to pursue energy independence and national development is undeniable, just as India's existential anxieties and security concerns are understandable. Meanwhile, the Western world, especially the United States, is content to see this issue become part of its Indo-Pacific strategy, attempting to use the water card to deepen the rift between China and India and reap the benefits. Ultimately, where will this surging, heavenly river flow? Will it become a bridge of cooperation connecting two ancient civilizations for shared green prosperity, or will it become a chasm of hardened suspicion and conflict? The physical construction of the project may already be determined, but the political, diplomatic, and psychological engineering surrounding it has just begun. The answer will ultimately test the political wisdom and historical foresight of the highest levels of leadership in these two Asian giants.